Well, hello there. You have come to root into your true nature and to rise. No, just kidding. I don't think we're going to do the jazz music. Hello, I'm Joshua, and in today's transmission, we are diving into As We Root, We Rise. And why just trying to raise your vibration doesn't work. We have negative emotion, and much of that negative emotion gets stored in our bodies. So I think it's common for a lot of us when we start going through this spiritual awakening that we're like, okay, I'm just gonna think good thoughts and I'm gonna try and feel good all the time. But the thing about raising our vibration is a real thing. But it's much like if you think of that state of love and appreciation where you're in that high vibration as more of the natural state, and that it's like a cork that you bring under the water when you're in states of resistance, that when you let go of the resistance, the cork bops back up to the water and your vibration naturally raises. But what I found is that actually going down into the water to those places of emotion and feeling those deeper layers, like going deeper into our consciousness. Now the shadow is not a bad thing. Whether you call it shadow, sometimes I call it the absence, because it's the idea of bringing your light of awareness into the absence. Or you call it the contrast, right? We have this contrasting experience of the full spectrum of the emotional scale and of the experiences and of the kind of yin and the yang. We have this polarity here on Earth that we get to work with. And I think what happens is that when we are even if we're trying, think of that word trying, why doesn't it work to try to raise your vibration? Trying is a vibration of want from a place of not having it, from a place of lack. It can also come from a place of trying to fix yourself. And any mentality of trying to fix yourself is coming from a place of thinking that there's something wrong with you to be fixed so that you can be this high vibrational person. And then it can also mess with our psyche, because then we think that we're going to repel other people if we're not this high vibrational person all the time. Or is it okay for me to be sarcastic? Because I actually, somebody said that to me once at an event. They're like, sarcasm is not a high vibration. And I was just like, I've actually had a couple times where people would, say something about this idea. It was almost like this projection that you should be a certain way. And I think that that's what gets us hung up too, is that then we can't just line up the energy or even just show up as we are, because we're too concerned about it can actually hold us back. And this also relates to grounding into the body, and that the body is the subconscious, right? Your body is made of vibration and made of the elements of nature. And if you look at the sheer amount of well-being that is happening on this planet that causes it to spin in perfect orbit to the planets and to the galaxy, and the fact that all the air that we breathe in, everything is so fine-tuned here for us to even be able to live and exist. So this is where I think, and I've gone through this on my journey, where it's you start wanting to raise your vibration or expand your consciousness and start focusing more on spirituality. You start going into these higher chakras. And that can be beautiful, opening your third eye and stuff like that. And, I remember earlier on even being interested in I was doing lucid dreaming and a lot of, but you can get interested in also in these it's all about balance, because when we go too far, when we go too far out and we haven't integrated the lower energies, the denser energies, we start to become disembodied, right? And that's where we start to take on other people's energies and not feel fully safe. And so a really powerful way to shift this is to connect to the earth, connect to Gaia, connect to the frequency of this planet, because the frequency of this planet is actually a very high vibration. And I know that sometimes we don't think that, because we can get lost in this matrix maze of this mind Maya, and like realize that this planet is actually has so much beauty and well-being flowing through it. So like taking your shoes off and going for a walk in the grass, sitting in meditation, going deep into the feelings and just simply allowing yourself to feel whatever you're feeling. It doesn't have to be a high vibration, you know, because the more that we ground in and we feel those feelings and we root in and we feel ourselves get more into our bodies and get more solid in our connection to the planet, the more that we start to process these stored emotions in our body. And another tool that's so powerful is somatic healing. A very simple meditative practice that I don't even have to make you a guided meditation for it, but if you guys wanted one, I could make it. I'm trying to be more open to also hearing what people are more interested in, but just flowing it, you know. And it's somatic healing that basically it's where you go into your body, like we could just do it right now. Go into your crown, right? Feel the top of your head and feel your awareness slowly washing down your face, coming back behind your eyes, into your jaw, relaxing your jaw, coming down into your neck. And as you move through these different parts of your body, you can feel any tension and just like relaxing that intention and paying attention to your breath, coming down the shoulders, coming down to the palms of the hands, coming down the chest, down the spine, down the hips, down around each of the calves and down to the bottom of your toes. And then flowing the energy back up again. And then feeling ourselves sinking into our body. So that's a quick version of that. And see, these are tools that we can also use to like center in our bodies at any time throughout our day, but also like sitting even for like 10 minutes and doing that and just feeling the emotions. I first learned a version of that when I went to a 10-day Vipassana retreat. It's called Vipassana meditation. It was one of the ancient meditations that, what's his name? Gautama Buddha initially taught to people because it was most easy for people to connect with. So these sensations too in our body, right? Because our emotions are emotions, energies in motion, each have a wavelength. So when we have unprocessed emotions that get stored, and this is something also that Joe Dispenza talks about, is how our energies, basically fear has to do also a lot with survival. Greed has to do with needs not being met early on in life. Anger and jealousy are fire emotions, think like your solar plexus, right? And that these emotions get stored in our lower 3 chakras or energy centers. And I know there's different models and not everybody's, I'm not super obsessed with the chakras or anything, but they're like, if you think of how there are energy centers in your body, you can feel them and they correspond to your organs and to the flow of energy through your central channel. And we'll get into that in a little bit. But basically, even if you don't call them chakras or don't call them whatever, you could say, I'm feeling it in my belly, or I'm feeling it, you know, I like the word root, you know, solar plexus makes sense to me. So getting a little off track here, but anyways, in the lower centers, that these emotions, these lower dense emotions of survival, of fear, of hatred, anger, jealousy, insecurity. Think insecurity, think being supported, lower back, like literally feeling supported in your body. These emotions get stored there, and when we suppress them, they become almost like crystallized, or they become solidified into our system. And then what a lot of us do is that we end up avoiding feeling those emotions. And so they get trapped there, and then they manifest in our life as within, so without. And basically by going in and doing this energy work and feeling these emotions, you can start to process that and release those emotions, right? And this has to do with the raising of the energy and the clearing of your energy body, your subtle body. Because as you clear your energy and you clear through denser, lower emotions, and obviously we can store denser emotions in different parts of our body. I'm just looking at one example of that. As you clear that energy, you can actually start to use your breath, use your awareness and your intention, and start transmuting and drawing that energy up, and then liberating that energy up through the top of your head, and then basically circulating this life force, and then that life force becomes liberated. See, when we don't transmute and we don't liberate the energy first, we have a lower amount of bandwidth to be able to focus into visualizing, because your mind power bandwidth is taken up subconsciously by these energy patterns that are running in the background. Think of like a CPU, like there's a background amount of RAM on your computer, and if there are programs that are running in the background, right, and you may be aware of them to some degree, but at the same time they're still running in the background, and they're still taking up a certain amount of bandwidth. So then everything else is more difficult to run other programs. So if you think about like reprogramming yourself, or like, it's important to free up that bandwidth. It's like a frequency bandwidth, that as we free up our emotions and as we liberate those energies and as we transmute, that's how we become the alchemist. That's how we make gold out of any part of our life. And being able to become that witness and become aware of it as well, because everything happens through awareness. Awareness is the conduit. Awareness is aware of, but awareness is just pure witness awareness. And so becoming greater than your conditioning. And what do I mean by that? Our conditioning gets rooted in as these programs, and like how it play, like if you have any feelings of not enough, or are not worthy enough, or any of that. So the conditioning is the condition. So when we come in, we are spiritual beings having a human experience, but when we come in to our parents and our society and everything, and you can say it's divinely orchestrated, at the same time we take on conditioning, and conditioning is relative to conditions, the conditions of the world, the conditions of your parents, how your parents treated each other, how they treated you, what you were taught the world was like, what reflections you got back about how other people see you. These are all conditions. And when we internalize emotions from difficult past experiences and store them, that's okay, because we're not ready yet to feel that. It's a self-protection mechanism. And I believe that this is actually what creates the shadow, is that the shadow is actually your friend. It's actually created as a reverse image to things that you could not process at the time. Think animals in nature. I remember reading Rewilding the Tiger, and he was talking about how in somatic release therapy, basically people would go into these, like, they would just start shaking and all this stuff would start getting released. And I've definitely experienced that in breath work ceremony and plant medicine even, or just like really deep, like going really deep into my emotions and my meditations and stuff, where literally it's just like, I just gotta like get this out, or like I'll have some weird experience and I'm just like, oh dude, no, But humans are socialized to be politically correct, like this is how I should respond to stuff. And also because like when animals, basically what they were talking about is that through that therapy, people would just naturally release this stuff. And that he mirrored the things that animals do, like when an antelope gets hit by like a tiger or something, and it doesn't get killed, it just gets up and shakes it off and continues walking. But as humans, we don't do that. We end up like storing that, and we end up repressing those emotions. And then even as we start becoming like, part of us is actually aware of it at times, and then we just are kind of like ignoring it. And then we get into this like, okay, I'm just gonna raise my vibration. But all of the bandwidth for the raised vibration is in that. By feeling that and by moving through that and by transmuting that, you liberate more energy. And this relates to rooting to rise. So like when you go deeper, your vibration naturally rises when you go deeper. So this is the idea that in meditation, it's like, I think not just trying to like ascend yourself, but like going deep into yourself, like, yeah, I'm going in, you know, like down to the core of Mother Earth, down into my cells, down into these deeper layers of feeling, into these deeper understandings. Because that's where we really learn about ourselves, right? And that's where we really come to understand these messages and be able to feel these feelings in our body, and being able to sink into ourselves as well. Because I feel like past those layers, what I find too is that's where you start getting into the stillness. For me, the stillness feels like dropping in. And when I'm really dropped in, then there's actually no thoughts for a while. And then in that momentum, the vibration just... So it's not just about directing your thoughts. And that can be actually a much more difficult way I'm finding of doing it, because if you still your mind, if you go deep and you feel and then you still your mind, it'll just... And then you'll be on another frequency. See, all of this is like trying to overly control your thoughts too. What I've been really looking at my own psychology is it's coming from a place of not being okay with where I'm at. And when I'm not okay with where I'm at, I want to try and control everything. But this awareness is like looking up at the sky. The clouds are moving through the sky. The clouds are the thoughts, but the clouds are impermanent. They come and they go. The sky is what remains. So like, being able to witness that and not be overly identified with like, oh no, my favorite cloud is leaving. I don't like that cloud. It's too dark. You know, let's try to change it. They're just, you know, like, and there's a kind of magic to that, not being attached to these images, and also realizing that like your thoughts, like your mental thoughts, aren't creating the emotions. The emotions are the state of vibration that you're tuned to that are creating the thought stream that you're receiving. See, we're not necessarily generating thoughts. We're receiving a stream of thoughts. Like we're in a certain stream and one thing just flows into the next. So when we go in, think of it like stones in a river. The river adapts around those stones. But if it gets all like, say the stones are these unprocessed emotions that are creating these blocks in your manifestation, which is the flow of the river. And really the bigger manifestation is the sacredness of life and loving your life. Just saying. In my personal opinion, I think we can have all the good things as well. But like these stones, then it's like, okay, there's a dam here. And it's like, as we start to work through those emotions, then it's like, okay, that dam starts to clear, and now the water can flow freely through us, because source is an infinite, inexhaustible energy. It's a source of all creation, source of all life, where sacred geometry that makes up everything comes from, that we're like literally everything from this source, from the source of life and from the source of this planet, of Mother Earth. There is this constant stream of well-being. And so as we work through and as we transmute, we start to open up space for that river to naturally flow. So it's like a stream, right? And as we process and clear, the clearing is that opening of that stream. And that's where I'm talking about this. This is like your electromagnetic field, right? There's this flow of energy that comes off the central stream of life flowing through you. And as we root into the planet has this natural high vibrational electromagnetic field of energy that when we tune our heart field, this is what heart math shows, and also Schumann resonance, and also working with sound healing, all these understandings of our energy and our energy field that gets naturally tuned to as well when you go on hikes in nature, when you go bathe in a river, when you put your feet on the soil, when you slow down and you appreciate the trees and you appreciate every breath, you're attuning yourself and you're dropping into your body, putting your awareness into your hands and your feet, doing this like scanning, feeling this flow of energy and getting into embodiment. Because this energy center thing that I was talking about also is that as we root into the planet, we're rooting into that frequency, and then our vibration naturally rises, right? And as our vibration naturally rises as well, we connect up to the heavens, we connect up to the above, right? It's because as above, so below. And your heart is a portal between. It's like your heart is right at the center of this, and your heart is generating an electromagnetic field. What do they say? It's about 30 feet or whatever. And also you are like the axis or whatever between that. So that because you're saying you live in the reflection, right? Or you're attracting it, like literally the state of your energy field and tuning it into the planet and clearing it, allowing that energy to raise. When you transmute it, you free up the bandwidth, and now you have more power to be able to create, visualize, feel creative, feel inspired, and feel good and love your life. And tuning into the planet and connecting to the sky, Mother Earth, Father Sky. Because you are the child. You are the creation, the child of the divine union, literally. You are the bridge. You are the bridge. You're the bridge between heaven and earth. I was listening to a tape of Neville Goddard, and man, dude's super lit because he knew back then, he was saying the best thing to align yourself with it is actually to intend every single day to create heaven on earth. And I know that in this scene, we say this a lot, but like literally, like I believe creating heaven on earth is actually a verb, and it's actually literal. Like you are literally creating the heavens. If you think like the sky, the blue sky mind, your power of your imagination, in the beginning was the word. Like your imagination impregnates the consciousness, the subconscious, right? There's this masculine and feminine union, the projective part of our mind and the receptive part of our mind and body that creates. And this is like also like literally the sky and literally the earth. When you ground into this, you ground into this new energy, and then you can start to like walk inside more of that meditation, like becoming your life, like walking in that energy, and you'll start to attract the synchronicities in those moments of alignment. And the more that you practice releasing resistance, which is processing and clearing, the more that you stay in the flow. The flow state is the zone of genius. And it's also being able to lean into who you're becoming and not being like, I have to be this high vibrational version of myself all the time. Because those roots that go down, when we ground into the energy of the planet, like we are able to feel more solid. Like think of the roots of a tree, like how it holds the foundation of a tree. Think of your spine like the trunk. Think of your expanding mind and your expanding consciousness and your expanding desires and syncing up with that and all that you're creating. Think of that as like the branches. Think of all your new perspectives. Think of all your growth. Think of how you're constantly expanding. But the roots grow equal to the branches because the roots have to grow down deep. If the top of the tree and the branches get too high, the tree will fall over because the roots have to be deep. If the roots are too shallow, the whole thing will fall over. So having that connection is so important, and being centered in our bodies, because we have these bodies, because we're like totally incarnated here for a reason. And I don't think it's like it's something you have to do. I think it's something you chose to do and you get to choose to do. And I think you get to choose love, because I don't think that love is required, because if love was required, everybody on this planet would be loving. Like that, to me, that is the basis of having a choice, is that you don't have to love. So I think that that's actually the first gift of choice that we're given, is whether or not we're gonna love being here now. Another great book. That was like one of the seeds of my awakening journey, actually, was that book. Be Here Now. And I remember opening it, and there was a point, and there's a picture of a seed sprouting, and it was talking about something about just like there's no going back. And there wasn't. So thanks for tuning in, guys. I think on another video, because we're getting up there. Okay, no, we can do it real quick. So let's ground into the planet, tune into our heart center. Feeling our bodies. Taking deep breaths. Tuning into our vibration. And now imagine that there's a cord of light going down from your root, from the base of your spine into the core of the earth. Connecting to the core of the planet. Feel yourself supported by the earth. Feel anything that's coming up right now. And you can release anything that no longer serves down to the planet to be transmuted just like compost. And breathing in that nourishing earth energy. And now breathing the energy up the spine, out through the top of the head. Connecting to the heavens, connecting to the sky, connecting to the universe. And feeling our hearts opening with that expansion while feeling ourselves rooted. You can even imagine just like an energy connecting you to source, an energy connecting you to infinite intelligence. You can feel that energy flowing into the top of your head. And now breathe both the earth and the heavens into your heart. Bring the hands to the heart. And focus on one thing you are here to create. See it in your mind's eye. Giving thanks, feeling it as though it's already happened. It's already happening. Feeling that gratitude, and feeling gratitude for the breath, feeling gratitude for our bodies, giving love and thanks to all of our cells that function automatically. Giving thanks to this planet and setting the intention to harmonize ourselves with the earth and with our universe and all of our guides. Oh, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. This just feels good. Feels good to go to more of like the kind of the OG stuff, you know, that I was more resonating with that. So yeah, if you guys want to leave anything in the comments that you're thankful for, or that you're experiencing in this process of integration, or any like intentions, all like supporting that group consciousness effect, because we are all connected and there is this movement going on the planet of the Great Awakening. So peace, and see you in the next synchronicity. Blessings.